Man, oh man. What what a great week of football. What is up, everybody? And welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of Meat on the 50. You know what it is. It was just our super wild card weekend, and we have some things to talk about because, quite frankly, there were some shocking results that we saw this weekend. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start the show. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Meat on the 50. You know what it is. It was just super wild card weekend. So you know what we got to do. We have to review the action that just took place because we had some shockers. And as always, joining me to break down the action, I would not pick any other person, one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how you doing?
Good, Jake. Like you said, there were some shocking outcomes for sure this week. So just looking to unpack those and kind of get into that. Excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I am fired up to talk about it. I know you are fired up to talk about it, specifically because we had not one great result, but we had two great results as the Niners and the Bengals both handle business at home, advancing to the divisional round. And we're going to get into it, but let's quickly go over how we did last week with our records. For yourself, 3-3, 1-0 on the guaranteed victories, thanks to Buffalo's just inching by their teeth, almost losing to a third string quarterback, thanks to Mike McDaniels vaping on the field and the referees. I don't know what the hell they're looking at, but man, oh man, Buffalo Bills pull it out. 1-0 on your guaranteed victory. For myself, 4-2, 1-0 on the guaranteed victories. Remember, we had that double guaranteed victory. So we're moving on. We're going to wipe those off the screen because we have some action to talk about. And I think it's just best that we just include all of these games in, you know what it is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alrighty, my friend, instead of picking one category to talk about, we're just going to kind of go through these and just pick the good, the bad, and the uglies from these games. So, starting us off, your team. I know you were worried, but I told you. Give it to me. San Francisco 49ers absolutely demolish the Seattle Seahawks. What do you got for me? Your thoughts on just what you saw from your team?
Yeah, the team, the 49ers, they came out, they started a little sluggish. Definitely Brock Purdy missed some throws there. He didn't come out looking really good just in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I think maybe just maybe a combination of maybe nerves, just playing in your first playoff game as a rookie. That's just a big deal. And there's a lot of expectation that comes with a game like that. So I'm not sure if that played in it, or maybe they just needed to make some adjustments, or maybe a little bit of both. But I was a little nervous there. Seattle came out and they played really, really good defense in the first half.
Yep.
And they made a lot of they made a lot of good plays. I think it was like about a 40 or 50-yard pass to DK Metcalf.
Yeah, that was a
Walker had a
solid bomb.
nice 10 to 15-yard run. And so Seattle looked really good in the first half. Just a real stupid penalty by Jimmy Ward right before the half to give them the field goal. And we know Jason Myers is a good kicker. I kind of figured that was going to go in. It was like a 56, 57-yarder. But to give them the momentum at the half, I was super nervous. I will say that I don't know if I necessarily thought the 49ers were going to fully lose, but I definitely was like, if they don't make some adjustments at half and the Seahawks keep it close in the second half, then we kind of know how that goes with the Seahawks. That's what they do. I mean, they kind of linger around, they kind of hang around and then wait for you to make a mistake. And then they win in the last second. So, but total opposite happened. I think that all the momentum shifted when the Seahawks were driving down the field and there was a forced fumble by Amenahue.
Yep.
The pocket collapsed and Geno fumbled the ball and Nick Bosa had the awareness to recover that. Yep. That's kind of where things really shifted in the 49ers' favor. We saw some catches by George Kittle, some catches by Ayuk. We saw some really good improvisation as far as with Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey getting touchdowns, and then obviously the 70-plus yard catch and score by Deebo Samuel. So I didn't think he would score on that play, but he really turned the corner, and he made me look stupid because I definitely did not think he was going to score. I just thought there wasn't enough space. But all in all, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but Brock Purdy there was a scramble drill towards the end of the game, and the play kind of broke down and he was running all around, and Brandon Ayuk was wide open in the end zone, and he dropped it.
You mean Brock Purdy's legacy play? You mean the play that would have solidified this man in every single 49ers fan's heart? You mean the play, that play? Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that play.
Well, I mean, it wasn't such garbage time that it was
Shame
like,
on you.
Yeah. So watch your mouth. So gave up a touchdown in garbage time. I mean, it would have been 41-17, ended up being 41-23. 49ers are a second half team. I mean, what can I say? Very similar to the Bengals, a second half team. So, all in all, very satisfied. I mean, sweeping our divisional opponents and then beating them a third time. You know how much I can't stand the Seattle Seahawks. Also, a big FU to Jonathan Abram for trying to hurt our player. The Seahawks are dirty. They always have been. Your fans are trash. You throw garbage at our players. Yeah. Your players play dirty. That's Pete Carroll, Cheat Carroll. He's a cheater going back to his college days. No, I'm just saying, I mean, they're dirty players. And so they always, I mean, Cam Chancellor was a dirty player. They had Byron Maxwell's dirty. They have some dirty players. I've seen it. Not a fan of them at all. I think everybody was pissed off. I saw Kyle Shanahan run onto the field kind of to yell at the players, to yell at the Seahawks players. Honestly, you never want to see somebody do that, but I believe I want to get your take on that. Do you think that fired up the 49ers? Because I feel like from there on out, it just seemed like the 49ers really punched them in the mouth after that.
Yeah, it took a little bit of doing. Right? The 49ers basically had their worst first half, or basically worst half of the entire season, and they saved it for the wild card. And then Brock Purdy actually looking like a rookie quarterback for the first time in his 6 starts now, right? He's 6-0. So the 49ers are a great team. They definitely are a second half team. You're going to do it. Basically, you don't want to awake a sleeping giant, right? That's basically what you don't want to do. So if you're going to do something to try and ignite the rival team, you guys better bring it. And that's exactly what, the Seahawks and Jonathan Abrams did, igniting basically. The 49ers are just waiting, right? They're going back and forth, and then boom, couple plays happen. Deebo's plays happen. There it was. I mean, I've been saying it all along. Deebo rests. One of the best weapons in football has just been resting for how long now? 4 weeks, right? They've had him.
Yeah.
He's been resting for 4 weeks. 133 yards. Receiving yards coming out first game back from injury. So the 49ers are going to be just fine. Brock Purdy, right, was, like you said, I think the moment kind of got to him there at the beginning. I think it was kind of a little bit overwhelming. I didn't think he kind of felt like he deserved to be there. And then, yeah, he settled in. Plays were rolling. That kind of play kind of ignited the 49ers. And he's kind of somebody, right? He's kind of a babyface killer. He's a babyface assassin. You don't think that he's really going to do much. And then next thing you know, he's putting up 41 points on you. So BCB, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, who's definitely the better of the Bosas, confirmed this weekend. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens, but my confidence is still through the roof with the 49ers because of all the weapons. And that's basically ultimately, right? You got to love Jimmy, but Brock Purdy just does what you're supposed to do with this team. You don't need to be the best player. You have enough weapons to get you there, to take you there. So just ride your weapons, do what you need to do, and get the job done. Jimmy G not being able to throw the ball farther than 10 yards down the field was a huge problem. Huge. So, yeah, 49ers rolling the Seahawks. You don't want to wake a sleeping giant, right? So they roll on to the divisional round. They'll get another home game here. Big game against Dallas. Great game. I mean, really just a game that you're looking forward to. Definitely a defensive game. We'll see what happens there. This is a game where, yeah, traditionally Dak does not get the job done. I'm of the thinking that he's not going to get the job done. So BCB and the 49ers definitely have a test awaiting them in the Dallas Cowboys and that defense. Dan Quinn, great job this year. But the San Francisco 49ers look like the most complete team in the playoffs, scoring the most points in Super Wildcard Weekend. Next up, we have man, I thought the Thanksgiving Day comeback was good. Was that Thanksgiving Day or was that Christmas?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the holidays.
Maybe it was in between.
I thought it was one of the holidays, but we got treated to the NFL regular season largest comeback. And man, was it looking like just a shamble of a game. And boy, did it deliver everything you could possibly want. If you've been following the NFL, if you've been following college the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, man, oh man, you have two heavyweight quarterbacks. You have Justin Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence, two on a roll, both first time in the playoffs, both trying to get their team over the hump. But Brandon, I will tell you this, my friend, because you are the one who always says it. Super Bowls and Super Bowl experience will always matter. The Jaguars down 27-0 somehow will their way to victory behind a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson versus a coach who lacks experience. Give me your thoughts, because we all know how you feel about him. Trevor Lawrence living up to the hype and then some. Doug Peterson, hell of a coach. I said it before, I'll say it again, hell of a coach. The Jacksonville Jaguars coming back and stunning, even though Al Michaels gave us a terrible, terrible game-winning call. That's okay, Al. The Jaguars, 31-30, walk-off field goal to beat the Chargers, down 27-0 at halftime. 31-3 in the second half. Your thoughts, Trevor Lawrence? The kid's amazing.
Yeah, just to be able to kind of dust off what you did in the first half with 4 interceptions and a lot of miscues and big mistakes in your first playoff game. I think mistakes are inevitable in your first playoff game. I mean, there's some quarterbacks that are able to avoid that, but for the most part, I think it's all a part of the growing pains. It's your first playoff experience.
I agree.
Second year in the league. Just to be able to make those adjustments at halftime. Doug Peterson, like you said, kudos to him, an NFL champion in his right. But also, Trevor Lawrence, he's been on the stage a couple of times. And I know that, not necessarily matters. It doesn't apply to guys like AJ McCarron or Tim Tebow, but because they were on the stage a couple times too.
Yeah.
We knew that Trevor Lawrence had that DNA where,
true.
He just has that it factor. So, it goes to show, first playoff game, he won in his first appearance. He's won, some quarterbacks don't ever get one. And some quarterbacks only ever get one or two. So to get one in his second season, huge. So just a shocking outcome. You don't expect a team up 27-0 to come back and essentially, like you say, outscore a team 31-3. That is such an impressive victory for Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne played really well.
Yep.
Brandon Staley, is it Staley? Brandon Staley got to go. He, that's terrible coaching in the second half.
Doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, and here's my thing: even in a regular season game, it's unacceptable. But an amplified playoff stage, I don't get it. I don't get how you could be up by that much. And it's just, that's all it is. It's laughable, man.
Yeah.
It's just funny. And so got to get Justin Herbert a better coach.
Yeah.
And I think they need a better defensive coordinator. I don't know. But I think they just need to just get an all new coaching staff. But shout out to Trevor. We're big fans of his. We've always said that he was going to be a good quarterback and he was going to make it. I know a lot of people had question marks about Sunshine, but the man goes to Waffle House after he wins. So put some damn respect on his name.
Yeah. I think you summed the Chargers up the best I've ever heard. Consistently inconsistent. That's the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. Man, oh man. Jacksonville Jaguars, baby. Moving on to the divisional round and to the biggest game definitely in Trevor Lawrence's career. Even bigger than that national championship. Definitely. This game against Kansas City, massive. Massive, massive, massive. And I hope it's as good as the Chargers game. Because Patrick Mahomes needs a run for his money. And he needs these cakewalks need to stop. So Trevor Lawrence moves on to face the Kansas City Chiefs. I can tell you what, Brandon and I are here for it. So we're excited. We are definitely looking forward to that matchup. But moving on to our Sunday games, the Buffalo Bills almost let it just slip through their fingers, giving up a scoop and score to lose the lead at one point against the Miami Dolphins. And then by terrible spotting, I guess, or he could have been short, but the 4th and 1, the delay of game, which essentially inevitably basically sealed the deal for the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo Bills sneak a victory away from the Miami Dolphins, 34-31. What do you got from me on the Buffalo Bills? I mean, This is inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is what I will say. you got pretty much a trap game because you got Skylar Thompson, one of those quarterbacks that comes into the Madden after you've been playing 8 or 9 seasons, just a CPU made player. So comes in, number 19 on a quarterback, hadn't looked good since John Elway or not Joe Montana on
Yeah.
the Chiefs. I haven't seen 19 since then on a quarterback. So it only looks good on Devo Samuel, but
Yeah.
came out and he played. Give him some credit, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy they got that was bagging over at the Dollar General, he came in and he got it done. I mean, as far as to keep the team in the game and to make it competitive, I can't put this on him at all. I think
Yeah,
that
true.
I think it came down to the defense. They allowed 34 points, and so I just think when you look at it this way. Buffalo's not interested in Miami. They're just not.
True.
I mean, Miami's not a very interesting team, especially with no Tua Tagovailoa. So you're looking at disinterest. I think when you're not that interested, you're not as engaged, you're not as focused. I've seen this in NBA matchups. I've seen this where you got a team that's really good, you got a team that's not that good, and the games are pretty close. Maybe the other team forces a game 7, something like that. They hang around. I think this is kind of what happened here. I think Buffalo was disinterested in Miami. They want to date with Cincinnati and Kansas City, the real juggernauts
Yeah.
of the conference. Miami's not a sexy matchup,
No.
especially with the second or third string quarterback that I mean, I've heard of him. That's the thing. It's like, well, I've heard of him before, but I really haven't seen him play. So Miami came out, surprised me. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. As ugly as it might have been, Buffalo won the game that they were supposed to win. Can't take anything away from them. In football, it is all about finding ways to win, whether you win 41-17 or whether you win 34-31. That is how football is. Each week is different. Do I think this is going to be the same Buffalo Bills team next week? No. I think it's going to be a totally different team. I think that that's what we see throughout but as long as you're winning, that's what matters. So give Buffalo credit. They were able to win a key divisional matchup to advance to the next round to face your Cincinnati Bengals, which should be being played in Cincinnati because I essentially think they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
But super excited for that matchup. I'm still kind of on the fence about who I'm going to pick. It's super tough for me because these quarterbacks are pretty even. But give Buffalo credit; they were able to withstand embarrassment.
Yeah, that would have not been a good look at all. But the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, get the job done at home to advance to the divisional round, like you said, to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. And yes, that game should be electrifying, absolutely electrifying. And then in the afternoon, the worst 13-3 team in the history of the NFL, because the G-Men, the New York Football Giants, Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic, the man, he's got a little bit of Eli Manning in him too. I look at him and I see a little bit of Eli Manning in him too, just with that face. It's just they got that face,
Similar, yeah.
Daniel Jones, man. Great job. Brian Dable, great job. The New York Football Giants beat the Minnesota Fraud Vikings at home 31-24 in an absolutely great game. But when push comes to shove, you have Kirk Fraud Cousins throwing a 3-yard pass on 4th and 8 to save your season in the playoffs. Your thoughts on the upset of the weekend?
Yeah, like you said, Daniel Jones came out. He played surprisingly well. I haven't watched a lot of Giants games, but I was like, man, he's a pretty big guy. He's got wheels on him. I kept telling a couple of my friends that he had, because I was watching it with a bunch of people, and he's got wheels on him, and everybody kind of agreed, and just very surprising. how well he played. And Saquon looking really good.
Yep.
Just looks healthy and definitely very explosive and just a really strong running back. So and he's got that speed, so he can explode through those holes and give them credit. New York Giants went on the road, a rematch, a game that was really close early on in the season. But I just don't understand. Kirk Cousins had a pretty good game, but it's that decision, when you take it back to the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, the decision, a couple of the decisions that Jimmy Garoppolo made cost us the game.
Yeah.
When you take it back to the 2013 NFC Championship game between the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks, this was in January of 2014. He goes to a double covered Richard, he tries to go over the top of Richard Sherman to Michael Crabtree when Quentin Patton was wide open in the flats, and it was a first down. We could have won that game.
Yeah.
So what separates Super Bowl champions from good, decent quarterbacks is those decisions. One decision is what separates you from a Super Bowl champion to a decent, good, okay quarterback. It's crazy, but it's true.
Yeah.
One decision, and Kirk Cousins might have played well the whole game, but that one decision to check down on 4th and 8 with no timeouts to a 3-yard pass to Hawkinson, who is not George Kittle, who's not going to break that, who is a very good tight end, but is not made to be. Is not Travis Kelce, is not George Kittle, is not Deebo Samuel, not going to make that play. Not Saquon Barkley, not going to make that play. Give me your take on number one. I got 2 questions for you. Yeah. Number one, what was your take on that play?
Yeah.
That 4th and 8 play.
Yeah.
Number 2, does this show you all you need to know about whether or not Kirk Cousins will win a Super Bowl or not? Go ahead.
Yeah. I think those questions basically are just one and the same, essentially, right? That play specifically shows you why that he will never lead the Minnesota Vikings to a Super Bowl. I'd rather have Case Keenum out there than Kirk Cousins. At least Case Keenum throws the ball down the field, right? So Kirk Cousins may probably go down unless he does anything different. This will definitely be his defining moment with the Minnesota Vikings. 13-3, great season. Justin Jefferson breaks all these receiving records, and then you do a 3-yard check down pass on 4th and 8.
And why didn't you throw it to Jefferson?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just try to?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see the catch he made against Buffalo, right? So you check down 3 yards to TJ Hawkinson. You don't give the best receiver, right? Quotes, right? Quote unquote, a chance to save your season. Like you said, yes, to answer your question, yes, we've seen all we need to know about Kirk Cousins on whether or not he will lead the Minnesota Vikings or any team for that matter to a Super Bowl. So Kirk Cousins, I love you, but yeah, forever mediocre, and definitely you screwed over every single Minnesota Vikings fan and just player. You just screwed them over. That's basically what happened. In our prime time game, I was about to have a heart attack because, I mean, man, oh man, you can't just make it easy on me, can you, boys? You can't just make it easy. Now we're down 3 of our 5 starting linemen, so we only have 2 of our starting linemen left. Basically where we were at last year. So here we go again. And I mean, man, oh man, the game comes down to a QB sneak. Logan Wilson forced fumble. Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati kid, as Mike Tirico put it so beautifully, 98-yard fumble scoop and score return, longest defensive play in NFL history, in NFL playoff history. Holy moly. I was down in the dumps. I was, man, I could see it in the water. And that defense, man, when it's playoff time, that defense, I don't know what happens to these guys. They get like +5 power boosts on like all their moves. Like they just get like plus attributes out of nowhere. They just all band together and immediately become better. So I love a lot of these linebacker groups, right? Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, right? You got a lot of these great linebacker groups in the NFL. Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt, playoff P. Those two are very underrated. Very underrated. And thank you to the defense. I'm really waiting for Joey to have his outburst playoff performance. Like it's just happening. It has not happened yet in his 5 playoff games. I'm hoping it does happen. We need to see it. I want to see it. So hopefully it happens against Buffalo. Show them what the Cincinnati Bengals are made of. But wow, Mike Tirico, thanks. That beautifully called. Jumping up in my living room, I could not believe what I was watching. The Bengals pull it out there at the end. Thank you to that Ravens receiver who just let it tip off his fingertips. What a game. Bengals pull it out 24-17 in an absolute heart attack game. What do you got for me?
It's, I love you, Jake, because you're just so similar to me when it comes to sports and when it comes to your teams. Fortunately for you, I would say that you should have a lot more confidence because you're a Golden State Warriors fan and they've won 4 titles, and there has been some gimmicks in there with adding Kevin Durant and, just not having to even worry in playoffs and things like that. And then going to the NBA Finals this year and beating the best team assembled on the court, which was the Boston Celtics, making you the best team. So I think that your confidence should be a lot higher than mine, but I will say this, we are very similar because the 49ers and the Celtics have tortured me. And people will be like, oh, give me a break. Okay, the Boston Celtics have 17 titles. The San Francisco 49ers have 5 of which I never witnessed, 16 of which I never witnessed with the Boston Celtics. That is good. I'm not going to – there may be dust on those trophies, but they still mean something, right? Yeah. And I'm not taking that away. I'm saying I have not witnessed anything but one championship, which I am thankful for the 2007-2008 Boston Celtics winning their title. Yeah. So, but since then, we're just going to go real quick, just so the viewers can see this. And so, you know, a little bit about my history. 2009, Boston Celtics lose to the 2010, Boston Celtics lose to the Lakers. Yep. 2013, the 49ers lose in the Super Bowl. 2012, they lose in the NFC Championship. 2013, they lose in the Super Bowl. 2014, they lose in the NFC Championship. And then we're going to move on to 2019, where the 49ers went to the Super Bowl and lost. 2021, last year, NFC Championship, lose. Boston Celtics lose in the finals. I have been tormented by my teams. And some people will say you should be thankful that your teams are making the playoffs. They're relevant. I am. But what comes with that is a lot of pessimism. And I see where it comes from with you with the Cincinnati Bengals, because as they were driving down on that field, what did you tell me, Jake?
Yeah, well, when that catch happened, I said game. We lost. It was over.
And what did I tell you?
It was over.
And what did I tell you?
You were saying it wasn't over, but this was before the fumble. This was before.
But what was I saying
But you
before
were
the fumble? I still was telling you it's not over.
you were
Did I
saying it
tell
was
you
not
that?
over.
Even if they scored, I believe
Well, I
in Joe
just wanted to
Burrow.
give you credit because a lot of people would say, oh, of course, anybody could say it's not over after the fumble. But yeah, you were saying it was not over before the fumble.
Well, no. And here's the thing. If you were not a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you would have said the same thing as me. It is different. People don't understand what goes through our minds as fans when our team has folded in moments like those before. We have PTSD with that stuff. Because what happened? What happens when something's going wrong with the Celtics or the 49ers? I say the same thing. I think me and you are very dramatic when it comes to our teams. Every other team, we're not at all.
Yeah.
But with our teams, I feel like they've screwed us over enough to where we're like, dude, is this happening again? But let me tell you something, Jake. I want to tell you this directly. It is a new era with Joe Burrow, man. He's a winner. It doesn't matter. Just the fact that he's on your team, it just increases your chances of winning by like 90% because of his aura, his attitude, his work ethic. He is a leader. He is the captain of your team. They are playing for that guy. So at the end of the day, either way, even if they would have scored, I was 100% certain that the Bengals were going to win the game. It's a divisional game. I still think Joey was going to drive them down the field with Jamar Chase and all the weapons you have to tie it up. If it would have had to go to overtime, that new overtime rule applies. Each team gets a possession. I'm taking him over Huntley any day.
Yeah.
So, but I'm with you, man. Hey, an amazing forced fumble at the goal line. I was like, Jake must be losing his mind right now with, how happy he is, because that right there was like the turning. It's like the absolute turning point of the game. Like, they were so deflated after that happened. And the fact that he took it all the way. I mean, Mark Andrews was almost got him.
Yeah. Mark Andrews is fast as hell, man. He chased Sam Hubbard down. And then, we won't talk about the questionable possible block in the back there. We'll just let that slide.
No, we're going to let, because that's happened before. That's happened before. It's a bang, bang play. It's hard to catch everything. In the NFL, the referees are not robots, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
They make a lot of bad calls, but they make a lot of good ones. Yeah. I don't even care. Am I a fan of refs? No, not really, because I think they have a lot of hold on the games, and I think some of them are biased. But at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do. So a win is a win. A touchdown is a touchdown. The Bengals punched their ticket to the game that didn't happen that is now going to happen. So credit to, like I said, it doesn't matter how you win or how ugly it is.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that. The Cincinnati Bengals beat a divisional opponent that they had to play 3 times in one season.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how ugly the game is. Is it going to be the same Bengals team next week? No. Every week seems like a new team. Okay?
Yeah.
It is a new game.
Yeah.
So do I think that if the Bengals played the Ravens again next week that they would win? Absolutely. I think it would be a blowout. I think that they didn't have the best game, but they still got it done. So congratulations to you, Jake, and your team advancing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The Bengals get the job done at home. Now they have to go on the road to Orchard Park, to upstate New York, to Buffalo, to play the Buffalo Bills in what should be, just an all-out, just amazing, electrifying game. And the first few minutes of the first game, we're going very good. So I'm hoping that it's the same exact thing for the Bengals. Bengals get the job done to advance to the divisional round for back-to-back years. Haven't won playoff game in 31 years. Now have won 4 in 2 years.
4, dude.
Is how it is done.
That is what happens when you add Joe Burrow to your team, man.
It's
That's
true.
what happens.
That's true. Very.
Or playoff games when you didn't win any with your favorite coach of all time.
31 years. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't even start. Okay. We're on a roll. Okay. Don't even start.
Marvin Lewis.
And the Monday night beatdown. The Dallas Cowboys get the job done in Tampa Bay. Dak Prescott started off slow, but then got rolling and looked really, really good. Dallas looked really, really good. Tampa Bay looked really, really bad. Tom Brady looked really, really bad. This has me questioning actually whether or not he will continue to play football after this. We'll see.
No, I just don't think so, man. I mean, I saw a lot of really bad throws. I just saw kind of disinterest. He didn't seem.
That's what it looked like to me.
Very frustrated.
Yep.
I'm kind of over this. I've won 7 Super Bowls. If I get 8, is anybody going to catch me at 7? Maybe Mahomes. I don't know though. Even if he does get 7, I beat him. I don't know. What I'm saying is I don't know what goes through your head at that point. I know you love the NFL, but I'm not going to say that I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, right? I'm not going to tell Tom Brady or anybody what they should and shouldn't do. But as what I think he's going to do, which do I think he can play another season? Most certainly.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, he's got it. He can play another season.
Yep.
Do I think that he's kind of gotten to the point where it's like, I feel like I've done everything that I've needed to do?
I think he kind of realized it. Yeah.
Yes. And the Dallas Cowboys, so inconsistent, just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
You see flashes of a Super Bowl team, and then they just go back to mediocrity. What Dallas Cowboys team are you going to get each week? We don't know. Are they capable of winning the Super Bowl? Do they have a roster built that's capable of winning a Super Bowl? I would say yes. However, the consistency is a big question mark. It is as big of a question mark as Josh Allen's turnovers.
Yes.
So, what do we got, man? What do you think, Dallas Cowboys? How do you feel about them in this game?
Yeah, Dallas moving on, to the divisional round. Last year they lost in the first round, correct?
To yours truly.
Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, I was just making sure that wasn't the divisional round. Yeah, so the Dallas Cowboys advancing to the divisional round. I think it was the first time since like 93 or something crazy like that. So this was a big victory for the Cowboys. Definitely a momentum victory. However, you're going on to play the hottest team in the NFL. So we'll see how hot your fire really burns. So the Dallas Cowboys, really good victory, taking care of a really not good team. Like you said, Tom Brady did not look interested. Him and Mike Evans were off the entire night. We're not on the same page at all. I do think that this is the end of Tom Brady. Kind of what's funny is Troy Aikman kind of said the same thing. He was like, I started the game with one opinion and then I ending the game with a completely different opinion because Tom just kind of looked done. He looked like he was done playing. He looked like he was done with football, which is fine.
They just looked awful. Yeah. I mean, that defense.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to do anything more.
The defense looked horrible. I just want to
everybody.
Did Tampa Bay's defense, though? Let's specifically hone in on them because
they were bad.
They came out the first 2 drives and they were stout, right?
Yeah.
And they were. I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened with that defense, but that did not remind me at all of the defense that won 31-9 at home against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. That did not remind me.
Well, it's a different defense, but that defense at the same time,
it's
right?
Very similar, though. There's a lot of similar players.
True. That defense, it played very badly. The offensive line played horribly. So,
they just
Tom
3-9, like you said.
Yeah, Tom is either going to retire or play for a different team. We'll see what happens. But I think this is the last.
If I'm retiring though, because you got to look at it this way. I'm just saying, you got to go to another team and you got to learn that personnel.
True.
All over again. You got to start over brand new.
Yeah.
And you got to try. You're asking a lot to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I mean, you go to the Raiders, you got to deal with Kansas City. You got to deal with
exactly.
Maybe the Chargers had a new coach. I don't know. That's still a tough division. Maybe Denver turns it around. You don't know.
I think he's retiring. I think
it's over.
Yeah,
I think it's over. Yeah,
I think he is retiring.
And then maybe Jimmy goes to the Bucks.
We shall see. Questions.
Maybe Derek Carr goes to the Bucks. I don't know.
True. Questions that will be answered. Questions that will be answered. What an amazing week of football. What an amazing weekend of football. And man, oh man, are we getting down to the nitty gritty? We're boiling it down to the top 8 teams. Here we go. This is what it's all about. Who is going to advance to the championship games? Because we have our divisional round set: Jacksonville, Kansas City, New York, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Dallas versus San Francisco. I hope you're ready, because we are ready, and we're going to get there. So just tune in to our picks episode on Friday, because that is going to do it for this edition, this episode of Meat on the 50, our super wild card edition. You know what I'm going to say. Thank you. We want to thank you. Brandon and I want to thank you, our viewers, for taking the time, watching our video, right? Listening to our thoughts, analysis, our breakdowns, all of what we have to say. We want to thank you, whether you're a new viewer, returning viewer, what have you. We hope we have done enough to keep you coming back for more. And as always, Brandon, any last words for the people?
It was a pretty epic wild card week. The results that you and I needed to happen against our divisional foes, the Ratbirds and the Seacocks, happened.
Yeah.
And we are moving on to round number 2. Excited. We know what we want.
Yep.
To meet each other. So, Super Bowl rematch of the 80s. So, let's bring it back, man. Let's run it back. Let's get it back. Another exciting week of football, and super stoked to get into next week.
Yeah, it's going down. I can't wait. Man, oh man. Man, oh man, what a season of football. Our teams are on a roll. Yours, 10 straight, 11 straight? I think 11 straight, right? Straight. And then my team, 10 straight, 9 straight, something like that. 2 hottest teams in football. They continue to roll. Let's hope they continue to roll all the way to the Super Bowl. But we have more episodes before that happens. So that is going to do it. Tune in for Friday, our Friday episode, where we're going to be going over our divisional round picks. But that is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Let's get that out there. That is one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. I am Jacob Carter, the fantasy guy. And until Friday, Brandon and Jake are out.